This is your daily briefing. You're most welcome to it. Tottenham in Europe, not worth the price of admission, technically inept. Revealed in Europe as being, look, nobody in this group, a group which everybody acknowledged was a bit softer than many of the other groups. I wouldn't say that they're rubbish, but they're mediocre. Certainly at this level, they're mediocre. Cream of the crop from the Europa sort of tournament and the Conference League tournament, that kind of end of the market. Tottenham can't distinguish themselves against this class of opposition. Are any of this lot going to be in the last 16 of the tournament? No. Spurs are wasting everybody's time. I'm sorry, but we have to talk about it in those terms. Sonny, there's a massive problem. As I say, hat-trick against the likes of Leicester City. But his timing, his football brain, it's all off. It's all gone to cock, I'm afraid. Bryan Gil, if we're going to talk about people getting things wrong, paper boy amongst men. And you've got creatures like Alistair Gold sat there talking to Conte. The best advice I can give them is watch him and others like him. You watch Glengarry Glen Ross. There's a brutal scene where Ricky Roma tells it how it is to Williamson, the office manager. I'll stick that up on here, but I've had to redact it enormously. Gil was irredeemably poor. People thinking that this kid's going to be the next great white hope. You have been fed mindless drivel of exciting prospects, starlet, and all this language, baseless nonsense. The reality is that the situation is that Conte trains them every day, week in, week out. A man of Conte's stamp, show him some respect. It's like God created a man using some bits that were left over, balsa wood and a pipe cleaner, and on the 8th day came forth Bryan Gil. Look, I can beat the guy up all I want. It's my show. But you tell me where the positives are. Spurs brought us a chef in for this guy. I don't know what he was living on, pop and crisps maybe, I don't know. But he came on last night against this class of opposition. It's not way up here. It's kind of, where we said it was. Couldn't stay on his feet. Everything looked a bit overwhelming. Not good enough. And we've got these, I'm going to say it, I don't care. You say he's not a very nice man, but I'm annoyed, and I'm right to be annoyed. We've got this fat, pompous, lazy hack sat there saying, Antonio, these are morons that I've been grooming online, with this infantile, discussion of what's going on at the club just to get clicks. Oh, I'm pretty clueless myself. But I've been guiding, I've whipped them up into a frenzy, and they're asking about Djed, Spence and Bryan Gil. Any thoughts on when you're going to bring them on? No wonder he lost his head with them. This is a guy, Conte, you need to extend professional courtesy to. A lot of these guys shouldn't be in the room. Absolute time wasters. And I've got a note here, Jack Pitt-Brook. Now bear in mind, we've been discussing what's wrong at Spurs. And this guy, how many thousands of words is he churning out every week? It's in the, God knows. His question was, did Conte rue the fact that he didn't have any attacking alternatives to Sonny and Richarlison?
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Do you not understand football at all, Sonny? We're playing with 3 attackers where many sides only play with 1. We've got a wealth of talent in inverted commas. The problem's the middle of the park. The problem is the fact that we don't have any bloody wing-backs that work. Do you rue the lack of alternatives in attacking play? Absolutely. These people are cretins. And all they do, because they have no concept of reputational damage, because they churn out this rubbish. I don't wake up in the morning and look at the thing I posted yesterday and go, oh God, how am I going to get out of this? I was saying about this guy's going to be really good and the money coming in from the NFL and we're going to be the line on the graph and it's all going to be... I don't wake up with that nonsense to address. I carry on where I started off the day before because it doesn't change. And, we've got this business where, as I say, they're just writing headlines in a biscuit factory. Antonio Conte, green lights move for versatile Frenchman. He's not green lighting anything. He's not in charge. And this is what I said to somebody yesterday. The business of playing the same starting 11 that failed so miserably against Arsenal, I think he was sending Levy a message. He talks about rotation, but he doesn't rotate. I mean, how stupid do you have to be to not understand what he's doing? Paratici has identified a £40 million star to complete Spurs' improving midfield. Everything gets signed off by the wee baldy man, and that's the truth. Okay, so stop feeding your audience guano, and then, please, for the love of God, don't go to a man of Conte's calibre, whether you like him or not, I don't care. His CV, his achievements, his money in the bank, his trophies on the wall. He's in a different league to you. And we've got these toilet cleaners coming at him with these ridiculously stupid questions. Are you going to play Djed Spence? I only see him 3-4 times a week. They know what they're doing. And they don't have enough money been spent. It wasn't 150 million. There's 119 million quid worth of junk still out on loan. You're not asking them about that. I'm going over the same content I went over 2 days ago. I apologise, but we've got to. These guys need to be thrown out onto the street. That's my opinion. If we look at the way Spurs set up, we can see here that it was a lot more aggressive, a bit more of a push going on, no room for parking jumbo jets. Spurs were certainly more assertive, but so technically inept, it didn't matter what he did. And he didn't have any answers on the bench. And you can sit there, and this is the thing we have at Tottenham as well. There are people here, we've got to appreciate the players we're talking about who are, in the main, there's hope. Yes, there's hope, but they're largely unproven. Kulusevski, Oliver Skipp, these aren't world beaters. There were people talking about Matt Doherty as if he was the great white hope. You're dreaming. You got to let a manager organically build. Now, if you are going to, batter Conte for playing this low block, this bus parking thing, then you need to say it having thought it through. I agree with you, but why did Mourinho and why did Nuno do it before? Is it because Eriksen went and we never replaced him? And I'm going over the same content again and again. But the thing is, I don't have anything new and exciting to tell you because we've kind of covered it. We've kind of worked it out. But these clowns... Oh, do you wish you had more attacking options? Let's look at the expected goal dynamic. That gives us a good indication of, where the vim and the vigour was. And that just reveals it took half an hour of cat and mouse before Spurs exhibited a discernible threat. But the quality of the play was so poor, it didn't matter. And actually, if you look at that graph, see how compressed it is. Nobody was pulling up trees. Spurs were bloody busy. They made over 200 more passes than Frankfurt, and that amounted to over 100 more passes that were accurate than Frankfurt. But what we got was 20 guys charging around like it was a game of football in the playground. Let's look at the losses, giving the ball away, losing possession. Call it what you want. It's a lack of concentration. It's a lack of focus. Looking at the losses again in the first half, there was an improvement against the carnage of the North London derby with just one incident where it resulted in a shot on our goal where a Spurs player lost the ball and they turned it and they fashioned it into a shot against Hugo Lloris. But the second half deteriorated enormously. 6 shots ended up going towards Hugo Lloris from Frankfurt because Spurs were incapable of holding the ball right. And you've only got to look at number 15 there. 3 occasions where Eric Dyer was involved directly. Further evidence that Southgate needs his head looking at. Sonny and Kane, horribly wasteful with the ball. I mean, BT, I appreciate they're talking to their subscribers. And they're not alone. Lots of broadcasters will kind of describe something that isn't really happening, if truth be told. And I saw Jermaine Genius being jogged along by the lady in the studio and say, well, it really, they turned up the heat in the second half. No, it was just rubbish. It was not a good game of football. It wasn't worth paying for, and that's the bottom line. Poor game. Home crowd deserved more, and Tottenham's travelling lot deserved not just a refund, they deserved to be on wages. Who told you that you could work with men. That's my recurring theme about this game, and I'm aiming that at the players and I'm aiming it at the reporters. Everybody in that horrible little group, that little cabal, needs to up their game and up it urgently. Brighton away at the weekend. It'll be interesting to see what Conte does with Bissouma, another one of his 150 million quid players that he doesn't want to really use. I wish I had more hope, optimism, but if you watch the game, you know I'm only telling you the truth. And it's unravelling. I still think we'll probably manage to nick a top 4 finish. It depends how many teams finish above us, of course. And by that I mean, will it be 3 or less? If that happens, then we'll get away with it. Remember those words, we'll get away with it and we'll manage to produce. But Conte isn't going to stick around for that. He's talking about building, he's talking about this, that and the other. But if they'd spent the money on what he needed, opposed to what they thought might be a good investment for the English National Investment Company, then we might be in a better position than we are now. Makes my heart absolutely sink seeing Spurs in Europe and playing so poorly. Don't recognise it at all. Saddening to see. That's it for now though. Good luck. Keep it Tottenham.